أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ولعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam and humanity. Condolences to Imam of our time, Mohammadi Ajallallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and his companions, and to you mu'mineen and mu'minat on the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions. Praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to come and discuss the incident of Karbala and learn from it, inshallah. From past few nights we have been discussing why Ashura took place, and inshallah in future nights, tonight and in future nights, we will discuss what was the aim of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein by going to Karbala and uprising against Yazid. And it is a very important question that needs to be answered, and we have heard a lot of answers too in this regard. We have heard ulamas, we have heard probably you mu'mineen and mu'minat have read books in this regard. Why Imam Hussein sacrificed himself, why Imam Hussein stood against Yazid, why, all these questions. And yes, we do have answers such as, for example, we have heard some answers such as Imam stood against Yazid and sacrificed himself and his companions for the revival of religion, because at that time the religion was about to eradicate from the land in which they were living in, or at least we can say this, that haqq and batil was mixed and people were deviated. We have different answers in this regard. And another question that may arise from here is that what correction took place out of this movement, that when Abu Abdullah al-Hussein stood against Yazid, he did it for correction of corruption, for islah mafasid. So this movement, what correction it brought, what kind of Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar was it that Imam Hussein performed? Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar, inshallah we'll discuss this really important topic tomorrow, enjoining good and forbidding evil. What do we mean by this, and what type of enjoining good and forbidding evil was in the tragedy of Karbala? Or how come this method revived religion? So these are some of the questions that might come in one's mind regarding the incident of Karbala and the uprising of Imam Hussein, or with the movement of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. One of the most important aims of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein was, and inshallah tonight we will discuss this topic. Now, when we are looking at the will of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, when he gave it to his brother Mohammadi Hanafiya, when he gave it to him, there were some important points that were written in this will. Let's go through some of the important part. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam says, "Inni lam akhruj ashira wala batira wala mufsida wala zalima." Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says to his brother Mohammadi Hanafiya, he gives his will to Mohammadi Hanafiya. This is written there. Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says that I have not come out, I have not gone out of Medina for fun. I have not come out of Medina for enjoyment. I have not come out of Medina to oppress someone. I have not come out of Medina to create fisad, to create instigate, to create discord among Muslim ummah. He says it within his will. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says this, وَإِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ فِي أُمَّةِ جَدِّي. And then Abu Abdullah al-Hussein mentions that my only purpose of uprising is for Islah of the ummah, the people of my grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says. At the start, he comes and says that I have not come out for enjoyment, for fun, for all this stuff, but rather I have come out for the Islah of my ummah, the Islah of the ummah of my grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the important part it is that لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ, not lil-islah. A bit of Arabic grammar is involved here. So Imam Hussein says that I want the people of Muslims, the people that are living at that moment, I want the Islah. I want it. And even before this, remember yesterday I quoted some of the words of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein at the time of Muawiyah. Now this is at the time of Yazid. Imam was about to uprise. But remember, even at the time of Muawiyah, what he said that وَلَكِنْ لِنُرِيَ الْمَعَالِمَ مِنْ دِينِكَ وَنُظْهِرَ الْإِصْلَاحَ فِي بِلَادِكَ. Imam, even at the time of Muawiyah, he says this, that all my political activities are nothing but to show the people the religious values, but to show the people the teachings of Islam. And this was before Yazid's time. It was at the time of Muawiyah. So we can see the condition, the situation here, even from the time of Muawiyah. And it reached at the peak, at the time of Yazid, that the Islamic teachings, the Islamic values were eradicated. From the society, the Islamic teachings were gone. Or at least we could say the haqq and batil were so mixed that people were deviated. They didn't know what haqq is, what batil is. Imam says that I have come out to show the people, to make them recognize, to make them realize that what is haqq, what is batil, what is the teachings of Islam, what are the real values. So we can say this deviation which started from a long time ago, it reached its peak at the time of Yazid, and that was the time that Imam Hussein had to do something about it. Otherwise, the whole teachings of Islam were under question, or the whole teaching of Islam was about to basically vanish. from the Muslim Ummah. The real values. Of course, people were doing their namaz. Of course, people were doing their, for example, hajj, giving their zakat, so on and so forth. But the real values, that who should follow the Muslim Ummah? Should it be someone like Rasulullah or someone like Yazid? Who should guide us? Who should show us the right path? Someone like Yazid or someone like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When Rasulullah said, I'm leaving behind two things for you not to deviate. One is Ahlul Bayt, one is Holy Quran. Now, if we stick to one, we are lost. That is why it is important that we stick to both of them in order to be guided. Now, because Islah is a very important word that we need to analyze. We need to know what Islah means. Because Abu Abdullah al-Hussein here says, وَإِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ, I've come out because I wanted Islah. So it is important for us to know what Islah means. And tonight, inshallah, we'll see what in Quran says, what Islah means. Now, when you look at the Arabic language, the words are normally derived from a root. Very basic. I'm going through this fast because I don't want to get into Arabic grammar here. Islah comes from that root of Sad, Lam, He. And when you look deeply into it, it can be derived from two things. One is Sulh and the other one is Salah. And I will explain both of them. If the word Islah is derived from the word Sulh, if it is derived from the word Sulh, then it means, for example, making friendship between two groups, solving the problem of two groups or two individuals. Sulh. If Islah comes from the word Sulh, this is one meaning of it. We have this example from the Holy Quran too. In Surah Nisa, verse 35, in this meaning that we just said, فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِن يُرِيدَا إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. And the whole ayah. So here, the Islah has come in this meaning that we just said, which is derived from the word Sulh. And the meaning of the ayah, the meaning of the verse is that, and in case you fear discord between two people, between husband and wife, then send forth a judge or mediator from his family and a judge from her family. If they desire reconciliation, if they desire to come and be husband and wife again, Allah will restore harmony between them. So within this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if there is a fight or if there is a dispute between husband and wife, then a person should come from their family and a person from their family to solve the problem. The Islah word is used here. To solve the problem, if husband and wife wants to, so their problems are being solved, if they wanna, if they desire to, and Allah will restore harmony between them if they desire to be together again and to be in peace. So this is one way of getting the meaning of Islah. Or in riwayat, we have different traditions that if you make peace between two individuals or groups, it is very nice, and there's a lot of reward in this regard. And in another verse, Holy Quran, Surah Infa'al, verse 1, where it has been mentioned, وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. Settle your affairs and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here again, أَصْلِحُوا has come, settle your affairs. Meaning that if there's a dispute amongst you, solve it, settle your affairs. In another place, for example, Surah Hujarat, verse 9, وَإِن طَائِفَتَانِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ اقْتَتَلُوا. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and in case two parties among the believers happen to fight, make peace between them. فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَهُمَا. So here, I gave you some examples from the Holy Quran that Islah, if it is derived from the word sulh, it means making peace between the two parties, either it is individual or group. So this is one of the meanings of Islah. Now, if Islah is derived from another root, which is Salah. The first one was Sulh, the other one is Salah. If it is derived from the Salah, it is the opposite of Fisad. It is the opposite of discord or corruption. And if I say that someone is Saleh in this regards, meaning that someone who is opposing corruption, who is correcting corruption within the society, who is doing the right thing. So this is the second meaning that we can get out of what Islah means. And if we say someone is Muslih, meaning that someone who is doing the right thing, who is correcting the corruption which is within the society, who is standing against the corruption. And when we say someone's Mufsid in this regards, Mufsid means someone who is creating division, who is creating fitna, who is creating problems, who is deviating people from the right path. So now when we say Islah in this regards, the second meaning of it means opposite of ifsad, meaning correcting corruption, performing all good actions. And we have this within the Quran too. In the Holy Quran, Surah Baqarah, verse 160. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ تَابُوا وَأَصْلَحُوا. The Holy Quran says, except the ones who repented and did good actions. Or in other words, who made it correct after repenting. Who made their amal correct. Who made their actions correct, who did the right thing, or who stood against the corruption. Or another place in Surah Nisa, verse 146, عَمِلُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. This is another example. So we can see from here that from the Holy Quran, that one meaning of Islah is what? That we make peace between two groups. Another meaning of Islah is what? Confronting the oppressors, correcting the corruption, doing the right thing. So this is another meaning. And even in today's society, especially in Iran, Islah, there's another third meaning which they have derived within their politics. Let me mention that meaning too for you mu'mineen. In today's society, especially in Iran, when they say that Islah, especially in politics, they mean reform. What does reform mean? Now reform means making a change within a society by time. And someone who is after making a change within a society is reformist. Even in today's society, we have some so-called ulamas, they call themselves reformists, saying that we need to change the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is according to today's society. So this is another thing. And with the reformists, there's another word which is revolutionist. Revolutionists are normally the people who make the change within the society suddenly. Either it be with the writing, either it be with the blood. So this is another meaning that some people have made it in today's society, what Islah means. Anyhow, when Abu Abdullah al-Hussein says that إِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ, what does it mean? What does Abu Abdullah al-Hussein means here, Islah? What does he mean? Does he mean the first one, the first meaning that between two groups, let's make peace between them, let's resolve the dispute? Or is it the second meaning that I have to stand against corruption, stand against oppression, stand against all the evil politics of Yazid and Muawiyah? Or the third meaning? Of course, the third meaning have been derived just now. But rather, when you look at the other two meanings, the second meaning, which is that fighting against discord, fighting against corruption, correcting the corruption, is what Abu Abdullah al-Hussein said, that this is why am I doing my uprising. This is the reason behind it. And this might take few years, this might take one night, the change. And when we look at these three meanings of Islah, the second one matches the most with the Islah that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein said, that correction of corruption. Islah mafasid, correcting the fisad. This was Abu Abdullah al-Hussein's aim. Now, let me say this, that Islah, fisad, good, bad, Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy al Munkar, these are words or concepts. We usually call them the concepts of values, meaning the things that should and shouldn't happen. Now, when we say what is a good action, we say a good action is something that we have to do, and a bad action is something that we don't have to do. Islah is something that we have to do. Fisad is something that we don't have to do. There are some concepts or words that are easily understood with our experience. For example, the weather is hot. Yes, I'm sweating. Everyone, you ask them, for example, in this weather right now in Qom, it is hot. You ask them, is it hot? Everyone says, yes, due to my experience, due to my feeling of hotness, yes, it is hot. Or if it is cold, for example, in Melbourne right now, it is cold. If you say, ask someone, is it cold? They're going to reply, yes, it is cold. But there are some concepts or words are only understood under an ethical system. And what do I mean by that? Let me explain more. Now, when we say that something is good, something is bad, something is evil, something is holy, something is salah, something is fisad, who says this? What are the criteria? Who makes the criteria? Who makes the criteria for us to tell us that this is good and this is bad? This behavior is good, this behavior is bad. And it is very important for our lives, Because the things that we say is good, we usually do it. And the things that we say it is fisad or bad, we don't usually do it. So it is important that who is making the laws of good and bad. As I said before, some of the things it is common amongst us. For example, the concept of hot. Yes, we said the weather is hot. Another, someone who is a non-believer or a believer, he says the same thing. If the weather is hot, he says it's hot. But some of the things, I might say this is good behavior, and someone else, he might say, nah, this is bad behavior. Now the question is, who makes this? Who tells us what's good, what's bad? And within every society, no matter you're living in West, you're living in East, you're living in North, you're living in South, we have this ethical system that is ruling upon us, and based on that ethical system, we say this behavior is good, this behavior is bad. Now, sometimes a behavior is good for a group of people, the same behavior is bad for another group of people. And we have many examples within this world. So we can say now, Fisad and Islah is under what? Under that ethical system of that land that we are living in. Or under that ideology that we are living in. So it is important for us who tells us that according to what this behavior is good, according to what this behavior is bad. Now, considering an action to be bad, an action to be good, an action to be salah, an action to be fasid, it depends on the ethical system that we have, that we live under, or the ideology. Now when we say Hossain used the word Islah. Now under what ethical system Hossain said Islah? Or correction of corruption? Under what ethical system? Under what criteria about the Abdullah al-Hussein said this thing is fisad? This action is fisad. This action is deviation. This action is good, for example. Under which criteria or under which ethical system Abdullah al-Hussein is saying this? We have to know. Why? Because for some person, for a group of people, Islah might be something else and Fisad might be something else. And for me, it might be something else. The question is, when Abdullah al-Hussein said, I have gone out of Medina for Islah, for the correction of who? The Ummah, the people of my grandfather Rasulullah. Does it mean Islah in the ethical system under, for example, ethical system of America, ethical system of Pakistan, ethical system of Iran, ethical system of whatever, or ethical system of some ideology, for example, different isms that we have? Under what ethical system Abdullah Hussein came out and said, I want Islah of my Ummah, I want Islah of the Muslim people? And let me mention this too here. Some of the ethical stuff, it is common amongst all of us, despite different culture that we have, despite different language, despite different ideology or religion we have. Some of the things are common. Some of the things are understood by all of us, but not all. I'll give you some of the things that are common that everyone understands that this is bad. For example, killing an innocent person. Everyone in the world says this. Killing an innocent person is bad. Despite them doing it, let's put that to the side. But they say it at least, and they believe in it that it is a bad action. Killing an innocent person, for example. Or for example, assaulting an innocent person. Or for example, another example I would like to give, oppressing an innocent person. These are some of the things that are common amongst every culture, amongst every nation. And some of the good actions that are common amongst all of us, for example, helping someone who is in need, for example, or working for the people's health. For example, someone makes a medicine for disease. This is something which everyone accepts, that this is something which is good. So there are some things that we all accept is good, a good behavior or a bad behavior, an evil behavior or a holy behavior. But some of the things we differ. And the difference is because of that ethical system that we believe in, or the ideology that we believe in, or the land we live in. Or another example I would like to give is that some of the human rights group, they say that death sentence is something which is unethical, which is fisad, and it needs to be corrected. But when you see, on the other hand, the Islamic law comes and says no, that death sentence is islah, and if the death sentence is not there, it becomes fisad. Let me make it very simple and short. According to Islam, a fisad is something when Allah's commands are not implemented. So if you neglect Allah's commands, and if you do not act upon it, this becomes fisad. And acting upon Allah's commands is islah. In simple words, Abu Abdullah al-Hussain's uprising was this, that he had an ethical system. What was the ethical system? The ethical system was Allah's commands. So anything which is Allah's commands, and if you bring that within a society, it becomes islah. And if you neglect and forget and eradicate that command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that becomes fisad. And Abu Abdullah al-Hussain at that time, at the time of Yazid, when it was at the peak of fasad, Abu Abdullah al-Hussain comes out and says, I have come out to do islah, to do correction of all this corruption that is right now within the Muslim Ummah. I hope I have explained properly. Now, by saying this, that Imam stood against oppression and all this, and even I mentioned yesterday that we have a word, we have a sentence saying that every land is Karbala, every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura. Now this doesn't mean that we have to neglect in what condition we are living in, where we are living in what time we are living in. We shouldn't neglect all this, my brothers. When making a decision, when performing an action, I need to know, where am I living? Am I in Australia? Am I in Pakistan? Am I in Iran? Am I in so on and so forth? I need to put all this into consideration when making an action. I shouldn't neglect all this. Go read the history of Islam from the start. Not just the part that what Imam Hussain alayhi salam did. Yes, Abu Abdullah al-Hussain is a role model, but we need to understand in which condition Hussain stood against oppression. What were the conditions? Because when you look at the start of Islam, when Rasulullah started preaching Islam in Mecca, for 3 years he secretly preached. Now someone comes and says, why Rasulullah didn't do every land is Ashura, every land is Karbala, and every day is Ashura. And even when Muslims were under great pressure within Mecca, they migrated to Medina. Now someone comes and tells me, Agha Ibrar, why didn't they say every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura. Brother, understand what conditions are. Understand what time and place you are living in. When the time comes, act like Hussein. When the time comes, act like Rasulullah. Not that Rasulullah, na'uzu billah, he was, I can't even say the word, and Abu Abdullah Hussein was more courageous. No. Or, for example, even when you look at the history, you look at the time of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he didn't do exactly the same thing he did against Yazid with the Muawiyah. The 10 years after the martyrdom of Imam Hassan till the time of Muawiyah's death, the 10 years gap between Imam Hassan's martyrdom and Muawiyah's death, it was 10 years gap here. Imam Hussein did exactly what Imam Hassan did with Muawiyah. And then when the time came with Yazid, he took the bigger step here. So we need to know in what condition, in what situation we are living, my brothers and sisters. The reason some of our brothers are mistaken because they only attend the Majlis of what? Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and we usually give the Paygam, the message of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, and they neglect the other messages that how Imam Hassan alayhi salam lived, how Rasulullah lived, how Imam Ali alayhi salam lived, how their conditions were, how they did their politics. So we have to know all this, and especially to the youth, if they are listening to me, and to anyone that are listening to me. If you want to bring change within Australian society or politics, if you want to make Australia a better place, or you want to work for the betterment of Australia, because we are Australians and we want to work for the betterment of Australia, the best way to work for the betterment of Australia is to go through the right channels. Never think of any shortcuts, my brothers and sisters. Do not act like an extremist. Go through the right path. Go through the right channels and make the changes that you want. Don't take the shortcuts. If you want to get into politics, go study hard within the university. Take your bachelor's, honors, master's, PhD, whatever. Get into politics, work hard, and reach a status where you can bring a change. This is a proper way of getting into politics, making a change. Or get into journalism. Work hard, go into university, work hard, study hard, get good marks, get into journalism and make the change. Be a scientist. Be someone within a police department in high ranks. If you want to bring a change, if you want to work for the betterment of Australia, this is how you do it. Don't take shortcuts. It is easy coming live on different platforms and saying stuff. But I'm telling the youth that do it the right way. And this is the right way. Get into politics, work hard, study hard, get into journalism, be a scientist, be a professor, be a doctor, be a politician, be a journalist. All these professions we have. Work hard, get into that field and work for the betterment of Australia. Go through the proper channels, my brothers and sisters. One of the examples I might give is Mehdi Hassan. All of you know about who Mehdi Hassan is. He's a Shia. I don't agree with all the things that he says, but still, he has gone to the right channel. He's worked hard, and he's making the change according to himself. One of his TV shows are much, much greater than, what can I say? Work hard, my brothers. If you want to make changes, work hard. If you want to be an alim, teach Islamic teachings, go to Hawza, go to Najaf, come to Qum and study, and then sit on the mimbar and then start talking what religion is. Nothing comes easy, my brothers. It's not like if I'm a factory worker and then I start teaching Islam. No, you stay to your work, do your own work. Likewise, if you want to bring change, my brothers, do it the proper way, especially to the youth. Work hard. Work hard. You're the future of the community. And you can bring change. Do it the right way. And secondly, to all Muslim leaders or to the Muslim people that are living with Australia, that you have to be very careful with your actions. Because unfortunately, let me be clear on this point. The media is not our friend at all. I had a personal experience with them. I'll give an example. Few years back, I don't know how many years back, the problem which happened in Cranbourne Primary School, the national anthem problem, that some of the kids during Muharram, they left the assembly and the teacher said it's okay. Why? Because they said in Muharram we are not allowed to sing this and that. And a small issue of kids were given coverage within the media platform within Australia. Unfortunately. It was just kids. Didn't know anything about the religious teachings. And they thought this is something which is wrong. And they left the assembly and the teachers respected. And they said, okay, you can leave. And that small, tiny thing became a huge problem. It got huge coverage from the media. And they gave Islam a bad name, saying that, see what these are teaching their kids. And especially our people, some of the, unfortunately, people within our community, even they criticized us, the Hossaini Center, that see what the ulamas and these religious people are doing. They deviated a lot of people by making different posts and all that on Facebook. That see what are they teaching their kids that don't sing national anthem. But in reality, we had no clue who the kids were, which school are they from, who their parents are. We had no clue. And they blamed all of us, our ulama, the religious people. And we had no clue who the kids are. And then, alhamdulillah, we made this decision. We went to the primary school with the religious scholar and the community members. We met with the principal. When we discussed, we said, we really appreciate that you showed respect towards the kids' beliefs. And there's a misunderstanding that singing national anthem during Muharram, there is no such law that you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't sing national anthem. There is no such law. We explained it and we told the principal and the teachers that if in future you need help in regards to anything, we are more than happy to come and help out. And then we told these hypocrites that are within our community, some of them, that deviated some of the people and made people against us. We told them, we gave them answer that, see, the people are not letting go of their religion. The best way is that we teach them what religion is. And this is how we, alhamdulillah, tackled this problem. And I personally, I was in contact with more than 10 media platforms of Australia. I sent them letters, I've sent them, we want to meet, all these problems. Out of so many that I contacted, only one made an article regarding our response. Alhamdulillah. Out of so many negative coverage that it got and it reached all over Australia, only one media platform gave us the chance to tell the Australian people that there is nothing wrong in Shia Islam singing national anthem. So my brothers, We need to know where we're living, and we need to be careful we don't give Islam a bad name. It is haram. It is forbidden for any of us that if we are living in a place where the media is not a friend, we give Islam a bad name. We need to know all this, my brothers. We need to act wisely. These are some of the things that I wanted to make it clear tonight for my youth. When Muharram comes, yes, every land is Karbala, every day is Ashura, when the time comes. But when the time is not there, you have to act like the other Imams. And make your Imam, make your community proud by doing the right thing. The right thing is going to university, working hard, studying hard, getting into that field and becoming a specialist of that field. Either it is being a scientist, either it is being a professor or a politician or a journalist or anything. Do it this way, and inshallah you will make the community proud, and you will work for the betterment of Australia, because we are Australian Muslims. And it is our responsibility to work for the betterment of our land, which is Australia. Now another thing, Islah, as I said, within the words of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, what Islah means. And when we look at the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, especially in Holy Quran, we find that they think they are the people who are doing Islah, who are doing correction too. We have many verses in Holy Quran. I don't have time that I have to go through it. I'll just mention one verse regarding this, that these, when the munafiqeen are told that why are you creating division, why are you creating discord, why are you creating corruption, in return they come and say, no, we are not creating corruption, but rather we are muslihun. Surah Baqarah verse 11, they say that وَإِذَا قِيلَ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. And when they are told, do not create fasad within the world, within the land, on the land, they reply, they say, إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُصْلِحُونَ. No, rather they say, we are who? Muslihun. We are the one who are promoting goodness, all the good things. We are the people who are making the society a better place. This is how they reply, unfortunately. And there's a lot to say about the hypocrites. And Surah Baqarah is a beautiful verse that you go and see what are the characteristics of Munafiqun, the hypocrites, and the Surah Munafiqun itself. And there's a lot to talk about. But for tonight, I hope I have delivered my message. And tonight's the night, my brothers and sisters in Islam, that if you have any problem, tonight's the night to ask for it. Either it is the worldly problems, or it is a spiritual problem, or anything that you want. Tonight's the night, my brothers and sisters. And you know what's tonight? Tonight is the night of Babul Hawaij. Abul Fazl al-Abbas alayhi salam, the beloved brother of who? Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, my brothers and sisters. I hope and I pray that all of you visit Karbala, and hopefully this year we get the privilege of visiting Karbala again. As soon as when you reach Karbala, You see the shrine of Abul Fazl al-Abbas alayhi salam. You see the shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. And as soon as you enter the shrine of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, no one's reciting anything, no eulogies, no masaib, nothing. But automatically you feel the connection with Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, Bab al-Hawaj, who listens to everything. Despite his hands were cut on the day of Ashura, but he takes care of everyone. Abul Fazl al-Abbas alayhi salam was very dear to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. And he was very faithful. He was a very faithful person to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. You go and read the history. You won't find Abul Fazl al-Abbas saying to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, brother, but rather he always says, Mawlai, Sayyidi, oh my master. On the day of Ashura, my brothers and sisters, Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Abu Abdullah. When the day came, Abul Fadl al-Abbas asked for permission to go and bring water. My brothers and sisters, Abul Fadl al-Abbas went towards the river of Furat. He reaches there, he fights the army of the enemy. He reaches the water, and he gets the water. The narrators say the army of the enemies attacked Abul Fadl al-Abbas, and when they attacked him in group, they cut off his arm, and then he took the water with his other hand, and the narrators say they cut off Abul Fadl al-Abbas's other arm. Now my brothers, Abul Fadl al-Abbas is with no arms. The narrators say that one of the enemies shot an arrow and it stuck Abul Fadl al-Abbas's eye. Now the blood is flowing from the face of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. He was the hope of the children, that my uncle Abul Fazl al-Abbas will bring water for us. But now Abul Fazl al-Abbas has no hands. And my brothers, imagine Abul Fazl al-Abbas is on the horse with no hands, arrows are within his body, and then he falls down with his body on the ground. There is the time when he says, oh brother Hussein. The narrators say Abu Abdullah al-Hussein comes towards Abul Fadl al-Abbas and sees Abbas in full of blood, full of wounds, full of blood, and arrow within the eyes of Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Oh my brothers, this is the only place, this might be the only place that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein cried loudly. He said that my backbone is broken. You know why? Because Abul Fazl al-Abbas was the last person. All All the companions were gone. Ali Akbar is no more. Hazrat Qasim is no more. Now Hussein is by himself. Some of the narrators say one of the reasons that Abu Abdullah al-Hussein didn't take Abu Fazl al-Abbas's body towards the tents, it might be the reason why, because no one was left, and Abu Fazl al-Abbas was in pieces. And the hardest part is now that Hussein is coming back towards the tents. Abul Fazl al-Abbas, he was the hope of the ladies. He was the hope of Sakina. Everyone was waiting that Abbas is coming back with Hussein. But Hussein is empty handed. That is the time when the ladies and the children knew that the enemies are gonna oppress us, because there is no Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Oh Hussein, for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, make us the true companions of Imam Mahdi. أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين، وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج، واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم ارزقني حبك، اللهم ارزقني شهادة في سبيلك. اللهم اعتني بصيرة في دينك وفهما في حكمك. Oh Allah, for the sake of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, for the sake of Babul Hawaij, a lot of mu'mineen and mu'minat are asking for dua. Oh Allah, for the sake of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, please solve all their problems. Oh Allah, for the sake of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, give fast and full recovery to all the patients. Oh Allah, for the sake of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, to give us the strength to stay firm on the right path, inshallah. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد.